There's a scary rumor going on about Gibson, but we've also got some new guitars to talk about tonight. Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. There's articles being written about iconic American brands saying goodbye to the USA in 2025. And as you scroll down, you run into things like Gibson, saying that they're moving all production to Indonesia due to high costs in the USA, and despite backlash, it's to help them stay competitive and expand globally. Please know, as of December 3rd, there has not been a single reliable source to post this story. This appears to just be some sort of a crazy clickbait article, because there's other products on this list, like the Chuck Taylor Converses, that have already not been United States made for nearly 2 decades now. So please, don't believe this until we see Gibson themselves post it. That's one of the best things about this brand, is the fact that they have always only been made in the USA, outside of a very small run done up in Canada once. At least strictly underneath the Gibson brand name. Now we can talk about Orville Gibsons and Orville by Gibson, and if we were to actually believe this article in the slightest, I could see them maybe moving Epiphone from China to Indonesia. Although it seems like they've invested quite a bit in that Chinese factory for that to even be a consideration, but you never know with the political climate. And even in a worst case scenario where this does come true, I think it would only make older Gibsons exponentially more expensive because we finally have the finite resource. But would you buy a non-American made Gibson? I think they've already kind of proved it with the Epiphone market that people are willing to pay quite a bit for something that looks very close to it, at least under the guise of the Epiphone branding. But I think this would just destroy the company. Let's get into the real things that are 100% verified. We got a new Jimmy Page signature guitar today. If you're saying, hey, Trogly, didn't that come out earlier this year? Yes it did. However, that was the collector's edition. They only made 50, they were $50,000. These were completely aged and hand-signed and played by Jimmy. And you also got the pick that he used to play it. That was encapsulated in mahogany. So now they've released a regular version of that. So let's take a look at our new one. We've got the uncovered pickups on the 6-string side, covered on 12, so that's looking good. You've got your regular speed knobs, output jack on the front. When you switch it over here, everything looks about right outside of the aging processes. Although it looks like we might have some orange peel on this example, or maybe it's just catching the wood grain strangely. They're advertising them as Jimmy Page custom bucker pickups with Alnico 5 magnets, which appears to be the same as what they used in the signed version. Our new headstock has double ring clusins with custom on the truss rod cover, whereas the aged one had a different hue to them because they aged the tuner tips. And the clear coat has been yellowed and you got the edge wear, but I was curious about the logos. So this one has that really blocky, nearly pantograph style logo. Whereas this one over here is kind of your more traditional one. Especially take a look at the G's when you compare those side by side. It's like, oh yeah, those are very different. I thought for sure that would have been a spec they'd just be like, nah, we'll just forget about that one. But no, they recreated it on these as well. And our new back appears to be a premium one-piece mahogany. It's got some interesting grain on that. Regular Strat button location. Normal backplate, switch over to the aged one. That one does look like it comes stock with a Schaller strap lock, but that's really easy to replace if you want to be exactly like the collector's edition. But the new $10,000 version does not have a special serial number in the slightest. It's just your regular custom shop style CS production numbers. Whereas the other ones had the special JP and what number it was out of it on it. But looking at actual photos of one of these, it looks like it's coming with just a regular Gibson custom shop style case. Although it does have the nice orange interior and you've got a picture of him on the COA to make it a little bit more special. But if you bought the $50,000 one and are now upset that there's one for considerably less, in the grand scheme of things, I don't think the $10,000 ones will be that collectible in the future. It all depends on how many they made, because you still get the pick, you get the Zoso. It's the stated collector's edition, it's aged. And most importantly, you get the silk pajamas and strap, as well as your custom double neck guitar stand. Although the interior of the case looks about like what you'd get on the other one. But the 50,000s are already long gone sold out, so it's not really a question of which you buy at this point. It's more so just fun to see what is different to say 40 grand. This one's more so for a player that wants the Jimmy Page specs, whereas the other one is for a collector. As of right now, it looks like they're just gonna make as many as will realistically sell. We do not have a published number. But what I want to see is a custom signature set of Jimmy Page EDS-1275 strings. because people are buying these and they send me questions saying, what strings can I use to redo the 12-string side? Because here's the thing, the Jimmy Page tailpieces are anchored all the way down here, whereas usually normal double necks have them in this location. I might not think that's that big of a deal, but on the 12-string side, look how massive this headstock is. To find a string long enough to go from here all the way to the top, you have to custom order the things. So Gibson, please, release a signature long set. Or let us know what strings you're using on these so we know how to restring our guitars. But you might say, hey, how much is a normal double neck anyways? They're $8,000 brand new, but remember, you can get pretty good deals on those usually because it's a limited buyer pool. But these have custom Bucker Alnico 3 magnets, have the different tailpiece spacing, has the covers on the 6-string side, doesn't have the exact same logo ornamentation, but it would get you close. But now there's another new model looming. It's going to be called the Les Paul Studio Session. These have been accidentally listed at a few different dealers' places and they take them down. So it might be Gibson said, hey, leak these things, make people start talking about them. Apparently these are supposed to be coming out maybe in December. We'll have to see. But I actually did find a store that actually currently has them on their website, Vivace Music, over in what looks like Australia. So let's take a look here. Les Paul Studio appears to have some sort of a figured top, so that's nice. It has binding, it's advertised as an ebony fretboard, it's got the Gibson Mother of Pearl logo, and then on the back, it appears to be a complete gloss finish with a mahogany body. It's got the swoop on the back for slightly better upper fret access. Where have we seen this before? It's pretty much just the modern Les Paul Studio. Because if you go back to the Sweetwater listed images, you can actually see it's still the black chrome hardware here. So if we go to the current modern Studio, I love these guitars. They're really cool. They have a nice high quality satin finish to them, but they have black binding with their ebony fretboard, and most people just can't even see it. They don't know it's a spec. So I've always been saying, I think they should change it back to cream. But rather than do that, it appears they just are going to let this run for a year, discontinue it, and come out with this new Studio Session because everything else is the same except for upgrading it to a straight up gloss finish. Then maybe advertising them as a certain flaminess in the top. But let's double check. Let's read our descriptions here. All right, we did find the AA figured maple cap. Still listed as ultra modern weight relief, which is the same as the modern Studios. But hey, check this out, 57 Classic and Classic Plus making a comeback. That is different from the 490R 498T set. Still has all the fanciness as far as the electronics, so it's going to be a PCB. So I guess in a way they could let these run side by side, one being the satin finish, the other one being gloss, but that just seems a bit redundant, but I guess we'll have to see. But so far we know they come in kind of a trans black as well as a cobalt burst. However, over here it says it's going to be available in a variety of colors and have a soft shell case. Now, if you're having a heart attack at $3,600 down from $4,500, remember that's Australian dollars. So that equates out to about $2,300-ish USD. It wouldn't surprise me if they were like $21.99 because apparently the Sweetwater listed demo stock ones were $19.99. Which is the old price of the Studio. And it doesn't make sense to discontinue this, give you the exact same thing with a gloss finish now too, but with a figured top and then not charge more. Because don't forget, the regular Les Paul Studio just got a The One treatment to it, but those still have the Gibson decal. They will have the binding, but they don't have the nice flame maple top. So maybe they will just leave it $19.99. We'll have to see. But now Guitar Center has a few new exclusive models I thought you might like to know about. So the new modern Supreme, they said, let's take that, give it a AAA quilt top and a sea smoke finish. And that makes it look something like this. It kind of reminds me of Nordic blue a bit. There's a lot of blue and black in here. And it looks like the backs are going to be a very dark blue color. This finish looks really good on the modern Supreme. So if anybody's interested in this one, we can do a new guitar day and document it on the show. I bet this one will be quite striking in person. And it's always fun to have the option of a quilt top. But they didn't do like a matching headstock or anything like that. It's just a regular modern Supreme in that aspect. Except for, it looks like this one actually has the black chrome hardware, which is not offered on tons and tons of models, but since they're introducing it onto the Studios, I bet that's how they're getting it now. But no lying, that one's a little bit more expensive, $4,200, whereas your regular ones are $4,000. However, if you don't like the gold hardware, that black chrome actually does make that new one quite different. And then check this out, I got a good chuckle. Fender copied Reverse Age Silverburst and called it Eclipse. So we saw this on that crazy Adam Jones guitar, but now we have it on a Stratocaster. And I've got to say, it works really well. It nearly reminds me of some of the old Strat Plus and Strat Ultra guitars of the 90s. They had not exact finishes of this, but it's along the similar lines. But a viewer of the show actually bought one of these, and they said their neck is ridiculously flamed. And I guess now that I look at this stock example, it's got some figuring too, and it is indeed listed as a roasted flame neck. So keep that in mind. I think this looks pretty good. I'd be very happy if somebody wants to New Guitar Day one of these. But in case you missed it, it's an HSS Stratocaster, and oh my goodness, is that a hardtail? Holy cow, it is! I didn't notice that before. I love this thing now. It even has the little swoop back here and stock Schaller strap locks. That is a whole lot of fun, but it's going to cost you $2,100. Which, not going to lie, is a lot more expensive than your baseline model, but I don't think those are available as hardtails. But if you're a bassist and feeling left out, they did offer this new finish on a precision bass, and it's significantly cheaper than the Stratocaster at $1,650. And in many ways, I think it actually looks pretty good on here. But coming off of that Adam Jones, I want to see the finish checking and aging. Those things are going to look awesome in the future. Well, that's everything I know about that's new at this point in time. If I missed anything, feel free to send me a message. We'll cover it another day. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you tomorrow on the next one. Take care.